Hi everyone, my name is Maxim, I am Ukrainian, and now there is a war in my country. I used to experience war just like you, received information in history lessons, from documentaries, and listened to the stories of participants in combat operations in the Second World War. And now I myself have become one of those participants. And this happened even despite the fact that I am not a soldier, not a politician, not a public figure, but just an ordinary civilian. I live in the city of Zaporizhia, which is only 30 kilometers from the front line. My city has been under regular rocket fire during these 18 months of war. Every day I can die from a missile attack. In the plant where I work, in the store buying food, or in the park that I pass on the way home from work. I can go to sleep at night and not wake up in the morning because a Russian missile will kill me while asleep in my bed. The Russians consider all these places to be legitimate military targets. All of them were already hit by their missiles or drones. The chances of dying are very significant because during this time hundreds of missiles and drones with explosives hit my city. But if you're listening to me now, I am managing to survive so far. Moreover, I'm still very lucky compared to many other Ukrainians because I didn't die, I am not injured, at least physically, my relatives are not killed or injured, my friends are not killed or injured. I didn't fall under the occupation, I wasn't captured by the Russian soldiers, I wasn't tortured by the Russian soldiers, my home wasn't taken away or destroyed, I'm not in a trench with a weapon in my hands, at least some of my relatives are in safe and I have a job. Before the war, all this wasn't an advantage, but now there are not so many Ukrainians whose lives correspond to all these points. But the longer the war goes on, the fewer these points will become. And not only for me, but also for all Ukrainians. That's why I decided to tell you about my life. Because I understand that many of you still don't know what's happening, why this war started, who Ukrainians are in general, and how they differ from you. You don't understand why you have to help us with weapons and money. Many of you believe that Ukraine is a part of Russia because it was part of the Soviet Union and even earlier it was part of the Russian Empire, but few know how Ukraine became part of them. Yes, many people in Ukraine speak Russian, but this doesn't mean that we should be part of Russia. My mother is Russian and my father is Ukrainian. I spoke Russian all my life in Ukraine and had no obstacles. Nevertheless, language does not define who I am, what my mentality is, and what my outlook on life is. This is influenced by the environment in which I grew up, traditions, and the attitude of people to each other and to the things around us. I consider myself a Ukrainian, not a Russian. Just as Belgian does not consider himself a Frenchman and an Austrian does not consider himself a German. Yes, Russia and Ukraine are neighboring states, but if you dive into history, it turns out that we were at war longer than there was peace, because we are different. The place where I live was a center of free people who just wanted to live free and defend their land. Then it was called Zaporizhzhia Sich, and the free people who lived here were called Cossacks. Since the 16th century, the Cossacks had a democratic system while Russia was still an empire. And such conditions, such a history of the formation of statehood had a great impact to the present-day Ukrainians. Ukraine is the land of free people, the place of democracy, and I will also tell you more about Ukraine. This story will be in the form of podcast, not because I have a good voice and perfect pronunciation in English, but because autumn and winter are coming on. And this means that Russia will launch missiles at Ukrainian power plants, electrical substations, and boiler houses again. Russia wants to leave us without electricity, water, and heat just like it did last year. We'll have power and internet out again, so the only thing I'll be able to do is plug a microphone into my tablet and sit in the dark talking about my life. Over the past 18 months, I've gotten used to the dark. At the beginning of the war, we did not turn on the lights in our homes so that enemy planes would not fly over the lights of the city to bomb it. Then we sat without electricity because Russia was destroying our energy infrastructure. And now we are sitting without light because we are already used to it. Also, I'm used to hiding my tablet and phone under my pillow when I sleep, not because I'm paranoid, but just for practical reasons. So that in the event of a rocket explosion near my house, the window frame, which will fly into the room with the broken glass and other debris, will not damage them. The same habit is always and everywhere to carry a power bank, flashlight, and all important documents. During this war, I realized why my grandparents, who survived the Second World War, always stockpiled food. Why, when congratulating me on my birthday, among all the wishes, they always added, "Peaceful sky to you." And why is the coat of arms of Ukraine not only an ordinary trident, but also the hidden word voля, which translates as freedom? If you want to learn more about how ordinary people prepared for war, how they live during war, and why exactly Ukrainians defend their land, then subscribe, listen, and ask your questions. I will try to answer them if possible. See you on the next podcasts. Peaceful sky to you.